Everybody, it's another episode of the DNVR Rapids podcast. I'm your host, Mitchell Carroll, aka Marshall. It is a perfect day in downtown Denver, Colorado. We are in Studio A. The whole gang is here. And that gang, of course, starts with Super Yaya.
You mean Ya, Mr. Whopper Ya?
We have some things to get into in segment 3. Which we will wait for.
Bringing pre-show drama in.
We'll get into it. The person who I expected a little more reasonable takes from is Duane, but he got fiery with it too. Can't wait for the fast food wars in segment 3. Downtown Duane Brown.
We should draft this next week, honestly.
Oh, that would. Oh, well, didn't you have like the worst draft ever for?
He
fast
literally
food?
did.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I took strong ways.
That wasn't on a rapid show, but it was pretty bad.
You know, because I'm producing the show.
Terrible. It was awful.
It was on the Bronco show, by the way. Oh, the people did not take my pandering. They roasted me.
And on the ones and twos, it is super producer Alyssa.
She will be talking a lot about soccer today. Alyssa will come in with an
She knows ball,
analysis.
dude.
She knows ball. Like, what
She
can we
knows
say?
footy. She knows ball. All right. Today we are talking coaching rumors because 2 names finally landed. We know Chris Little already has elevated himself with the results of this team into contention for the job. But then 2 names jumped in. 2 names.
Let's go Boatway. I'm sorry.
Right here. Jack Wilshere. Premier League player. Arsenal Academy coach. Pops up. And I was surprised at how large the range of reactions was to this rumor. I thought people would be pretty stoked to hear that a coach within one of the top organizations in soccer in the world being interested in the job would be a pretty good reaction, positive reaction from the fan base. And it was pretty split down the middle. Yeah, where did you land when you heard the Jack Wilshere news?
I think I landed right in the middle, honestly. The name got me excited. It's a guy we already knew, a guy that's been around England international, you know, like one newcomer of the year, his first year in the Premier League. Great player. But again, the experience is something that always worried me. Had only played 1 year. And looking into the style of play, he plays a lot like Mikel Arteta, which is the kind of style that Fraser was trying to implement last year, and it didn't work. And this year. That's why I really do think that if he were to come in, he's a new enough coach, and we've talked about this, where he might be able to take that and kind of run with it, the transition, the quick speed, and he might be able to adapt a lot quicker. But at the same time, if all your career you've known how to play is positional play, which he has played under Arsene Wenger, and he does credit quite a bit, is very hard to come in and try to play a new style of soccer and make the team that you're coaching very adaptable to that. Sure. When all you know is one way, and that's the way that you're kind of hardwired for now.
Well, I'm curious. I mean, it's only been about a year that he's been at Arsenal, right? I don't know if you guys watched the Arsenal YouTube show.
Welcome home.
Which was just covering his run with the FA Youth Cup last year in the youth squad. But I'm wondering, it's only a year. Did he come in? Is this the way he wants to play, or is this the way Arsenal wants him to play the youth so they're ready for the first team, ready for the under-23s, etc.? Right? Is this the way he wants to play, or is this the way they want to go down from the top? Right? Like, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. We don't know.
But that's the whole thing, though. Like, if that's where you're a first-year coach, that's what they're telling you to play. So that's the way you know how to play. And also, as a player, if that's how you played, like that's like for most of your career, you played positional play and you played it that way. That's what's kind of hardwired into you. And that doesn't mean that he can't change and adapt to the MLS. I think he's a brand new coach and pretty new in the process where he can still find new ways to get creative and find players that he wants and play the transition way that the Rapids and MLS plays. But it is something that gives you pause when you think about Jack Wilshere, that you got to make sure that he's coming in and he's going to play the way you want to do, or you might just have the same thing that happened with Ryan Fraser, just a bigger name.
Yeah. I mean, kind of, he played at Arsenal, West Ham, Bournemouth, played from under 16s through the national team, 34 caps with the senior national team with England, which you can kind of see, and maybe this is now more that some of these young wingers for England are up now, but it feels like it kind of fits the way Porig looks at it with the way England's national team plays. Just they have tons of speed on the outside, which is how he wants to build his team and find a target guy in the middle. And I don't know. It was an interesting name. I wouldn't rank him 1 as most likely to get the job. I don't know if I would even rank him 5. It's just, to me, what it showed, Duane, was the pool is wider than expected. Based on what we were seeing in our comment section on Twitter, when we started talking about coaching candidates, it was, who the hell would want to come here? Well, a Premier League player, a guy who played for English national team, and a guy who coaches in one of the biggest clubs in the world. Talk to them about the job. So it is bigger than maybe was expected.
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing about it is that we've talked, certainly on the show over the last, year or two about what is the relationship between the Rapids, KSE, and Arsenal. Is there a pipeline there outside of Trusty, which that may be the only thing that we've seen really. And now when there's a coaching search happening, we see that kind of pipeline open up. I think we've been thinking a little bit player-wise, the pipeline, Rapids moving up to somewhere in Arsenal, or, even reverse, if there's a young Arsenal player needing some minutes because he's just not going to get it, over there on the first team because of the talent is ahead of him. But outside of Yaya, we haven't really thought too much about where does the pipeline run for coaching. Yaya, we've all talked off show about kind of the style of coaching that happens at Arsenal, and Yaya's brought that up several times on the show too. How does that filter into Fraser's way of coaching, or a future coach, and what does that mean? So I don't know that he's the guy for the team, but I think it's kind of a neat thing to see that maybe that relationship is starting to be a thing now, regardless of whether it happens, at least it was open enough to see a candidate come out of that, Arsenal pipeline, which I think is interesting for the club. Maybe
it was our friend Brendan Plone from the Post who brought it up, but that relationship has definitely increased, especially when you see that Josh has basically spent the last 2 years, in England with Arsenal. Mm-hmm. And, I think that just helps when it's just Stan at the top, right, who just oversees everything. Why would Arsenal talk to the Rapids 7,000 miles away, however far it is, right? Totally different leagues, totally different styles, nothing connected but a guy way up top. But if you have Josh there and you have Josh in Denver, I won't say at TSGP, but around.
He's a ballerina. That's where he lives, if you guys don't know. So he moved his condo from Ball Arena to Arsenal Emirates.
Yeah, right.
That's all he did.
And so, I think that has opened it up. And, mostly that's data, right? Scouting, numbers, stuff like that, which, whether that's systems they can use, I don't know the whole ins and outs of it, but definitely has opened up a little bit. I don't know. I like, and I think when we were talking earlier last month when we started talking about coaching candidates, my dream candidate was Landon Donovan. And it's for the same reason, right? Where former player, young player, Landon Donovan's probably 10 years older or more than Jack Wilshere, but
young for a coach.
Yeah, young for a coach. Young, interesting, interesting. That's the word I've come back to for almost 2 months now. Is you might not fix the bad to good overnight, but you can fix not interesting to interesting. Pretty quickly.
Yeah, of course.
Right, with one hire.
That fits in with GM Mitchell Carroll's strategy of let's just try things.
Let's try stuff.
But I mean, it does come down to that. I mean, it's kind of what the Buffs did, right? They just kind of threw. They're like, let's try stuff. Let's bring in Dion. We're bad. Nobody's talking about us. Let's bring in somebody that might be good at what they do. But it's also going to be the talk of the town, and that's exactly what that's done. Colorado football has been one of the coolest things in all sports, if not the coolest things. Messi to Inter Miami has been one of the coolest things in sports, if not the coolest thing in sports.
Yeah.
You think out there in Al-Hadid, out there in Saudi Arabia, they're not pumped to see Ronaldo play. It's not a huge storyline for them. And it's like, oh my God, Ronaldo's coming. Oh my God, Neymar's coming.
Right.
You think the same thing wouldn't happen to the Rapids? Maybe Jack Wilshere won't bring that sort of excitement, but you will get the Wayne Rooney bump that he got with Washington, D.C., with D.C. United, where it's like, hey, man, how is Rooney doing out there in D.C.? Oh, they're bad. Damn, Rooney's bad, huh? You're going to talk about him because it's Rooney, because it's Jack, because it's players and people that you know. When you know them, you're interested. And that's where I agree with Mitch. But also part of me is just like, damn, I want to win so bad. I want this team to be. And again, I'm not saying that you don't want that. I'm not saying that.
Yes.
It's like, you're right. Like, at least give me some hope.
But like
give me a reason to live.
Like you said with the Buffs, you said they were bad, which they were the worst, if not the worst power. They might have been the worst team in college football, period.
Sure they were.
But definitely the worst Power 5 team in like the Vanderbilt zone, which is not where you want to be. But you also said no one talks about us.
Yep.
And, this is, just what I'm seeing. But I get the look ahead to the match day, the upcoming milestones, and the like match day review stuff from MLS. Right, I'm on those emails for MLS Media stuff. I read them every time, and there is never, ever a mention of the Colorado Rapids.
No.
Why would it be? Like you're right. Like, there shouldn't be any reason. You mentioned the Rapids. What are you going to talk about the Rapids? Tell me, if you're a national perspective.
Which candidate out there is handsome, single,
Sorry, I'm off the list now. Sorry.
And could be the next Taylor Swift?
You want to Taylor Swift this up?
Yeah, I want to Taylor Swift it.
Well, they can't get Messi probably. So
who's the next prospect that Taylor Swift? The Kelsey thing's not going to last. So
you're trying.
Okay. I'm thinking.
Nothing
Look,
ever lasts
I'm living in the future here.
Cole Bassett, you're up, bud.
Cole Bassett, Tay.
Yeah.
No, no, I don't want that. I don't want Taylor Swift anywhere near my team.
I do.
Whoa,
no,
I want that stadium packed.
Are you kidding me?
No, I don't want Taylor. I don't care. Like, I want blood money. I don't want Taylor Swift money. Give me blood money instead
blood
of Taylor
money.
Swift.
Yeah, but you're down with the Prime circus. So why not be down
Prime
with the
is
Taylor
cool.
Swift?
Taylor Swift is annoying.
Circus?
There's a difference.
No, Taylor Swift is objectively very cool, whether or not you like her. There's no doubt she is cool.
The thing is, this is my thing with it. Taylor Swift is going to a game and she's getting the pop because it's Taylor Swift. Dion is getting the pop because he's Dion, but he's also coaching the team. I'd rather have a cool coach.
Of course.
Than a celebrity
I'm not
couple.
in on the Taylor Swift thing.
Does Taylor Swift know soccer?
Now can Taylor Swift get this team to run a counter heavy 4-3-3?
We don't know yet.
I do know that, and it's a no.
I'd have to look into the discography and see what she's written.
I don't know. Maybe she knows footy.
See, when it comes to coach, it's going to be so hard to have anybody even close. I think in any sport, the Dion effect. But you can get close, and I think Wayne Rooney was one of those coaches that did it for United. But he's been so bad, he lost a lot of like that kind of love. I think Landon Donovan's a great like hire.
That's nothing is going to be primed to the Buffs to just like point at Mark's name.
Yeah.
But you're right, Landon Donovan would be the closest.
Yeah, and then the other one that I think that would be the closest that to me I would fanboy and I might cry is Rafa Marquez.
Oh,
you get a guy that's an international superstar. He's coaching at Barcelona. He's known in Europe, and he's also might bring in some Mexican players, and you can find interest in this little area, and you might bring in a little bit. And he's really feisty.
See this? You and I talked about this 2 weeks ago on the post game.
Yeah,
maybe. And it's like, hey, like, how much more interested are you in this team as a El Tree fan?
Yeah.
If you get an El Tree player or coach. And you said immediately, yes, 100% buy-in. With this Jack Wilshere rumor, I saw on Twitter Arsenal fans being like, oh, I'm in.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll call a season ticket rep tomorrow if they make this hire. That sort of thing. Do you think, because I do think Denver is a pretty good soccer town. I think the fans are pretty spread out in terms of who they're, allied to, whether it's Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, Serie A, whatever. I don't think there's a ton of Ligue 1 fans, but maybe if you're out there. But do you like that? It's probably not on the same level, grabbing Arsenal fans in Denver, but it's probably pretty close.
It might be the second best.
Yeah,
honestly.
in terms of like grabbing a group of people who are tangentially related as being for sure soccer fans, but not Rapids fans. I don't hate the
idea.
There's a lot of Arsenal
kind of
fans
fan
in
favorite
Denver.
guy. There's a ton of them.
Yeah, dude. And again, all you need is to open the door, right? And people are gonna walk through it. If you bring in somebody, an Arsenal fan style liking it, let's say Jack doesn't work out and he's fired within 3 years. You think a lot of those Arsenal fans aren't gonna stick around?
I bet you a good amount of them will. Yeah,
yeah, like maybe not all of them, maybe like 60%. And anywhere above 50%, it's a win already. So like you kind of want that, right? You kind of want just more and more fanfare, and that's how you get more fans in here, by bringing in names. I mean, it happens all over the time. It happens all over the place, right? St. Louis is a little bit of a different beast, because St. Louis has they kind of built their way differently, and were already so excited for soccer. But even if you look at Austin, they didn't bring any big player names, but who did they have yelling at the fans? Matthew McConaughey, because he's part owner of the team. And you know what? If you don't like soccer, hey, let's go see Matthew McConaughey one time screaming at us. And if you like it, you're going to stick around. Sometimes you just need to get them through that door, see that how fun soccer can be, and a lot of them stay.
We don't have any big celebrities that live in Denver
Lindsey Vonn, I think,
to pull in like the Matthew McConaughey effect. So
yeah, Jessica Biel ditched
gonna
us
need
for
to
Tennessee.
Yeah, we're gonna need to bring in a coach or a player. So
that's the way to do. And again, this has nothing to do with the team winning. Right now, we're just talking about big names because that's kind of what we've heard. This
is probably the biggest name
exactly
connected to the job so far.
Exactly.
That we know of.
And I'm just saying this because I know people are going to take this oh, what about the soccer aspect of it? We talked about the soccer aspect of it. We don't know because he's such a young coach.
Yeah.
He's had 1 year coaching, and he doesn't know a lot.
My guess is you get basically what Little is doing with whatever coach comes in.
Yeah, a lot of it.
I
Pretty
think
much.
we got a preview, right? There's no dramatic, all of a sudden they're running some crazy, analytics-driven Bundesliga three-back crazy formation where there's 18 midfielders on the field at once.
yeah,
Yeah.
Pork was super clear.
Yes.
In that presser, the second presser about, this is the deal.
Yes, this is what we're going to get.
This is what it's going to be. There will be no deviations. Deviations
from the macro.
don't stay in the club.
Yeah.
Deviations are removed, so it's going to be fall in, and so,
And look,
you can get your coach from wherever, but the system is going to be the system that the Rapids have
and
already
it's not
set.
rocket science that this roster needs a lot of work
Yeah.
to become an actual contending roster. I mean, even now they have scored in every game under Little. Pretty cool, considering Robin Fraser ended his career with the Rapids getting shut out in 9 of 10 MLS games. So that is a nice turnaround.
Sure.
To then score in 7 straight.
And the goals coming from all over.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's not just Rubio or Cole putting the team on his back,
Kind of Cole putting the team.
Well,
on
I mean,
his back,
he's had the most goals, but even that is not a ton out of those games.
Yeah.
But you've seen players from all
Maxu,
over,
yeah.
Score those goals with Little. So that's encouraging.
Yes, but there is, to jump from there to hosting a home playoff game, a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
A lot of work to do, which is why I'm so focused on a hire that allows this team to be part of the conversation ahead of the schedule of becoming a contending actual roster.
Not just even that, man. I think it's not just I don't think, and you're right, I don't think it's just a coach. I think it's also a player.
Oh, yeah.
Big name. Again, the one I'm looking at is Houston. I didn't believe in Houston. Ben Olsen came in and made that team into a juggernaut.
Eche.
But the thing is, Ache, and I told you last year, and I said it, Ache is washed.
Yeah, but
I said, but he's not. Like,
not washed?
No, he's not washed. And
he's dirty.
And this is what I'm saying. This is
He's dirty.
And this is the guy that I loved growing up. This is my favorite
But they
player.
washed him.
No, this was my favorite player.
Yeah.
For like a long, and I was like, he's washed. Like, I've seen what he can do.
Yeah.
He can do it. I think it's time to kind of put that to bed. He became so good. He's taking spots in the international team from young players that are doing great. Like, that's the thing. But it wasn't just Ben Olsen coming in here. It was also bringing a big marquee name to lead this team to victory. And that's what you need as well.
Yeah.
So, and we'll talk about it a little bit more, I think, in the next section, which I think when we get into the next coach, you've kind of
which
heard
we're about
rumors
to.
about. Yeah.
Yes, correct. We actually don't have to do any ad reads this show. So if we want, we can just
And throw in an ad read there. Just
Get a
go to
little
Illegal
bonus.
Pete's.
go to Illegal Pete's,
Go to
hit
Illegal
the
Pete's.
KSO pen,
Come home, have a little Ollie Pop.
put
Here's
some
burritos
Shitty
and buddies,
on,
man.
drink a Breck brew, chase your Breck whiskey with a Breck brew.
What about an Ollie Pop as well? We got Ollie Pops.
Get an
Pete's.
Ollie
Make
Pop.
a little Breck brew and cherry cola.
Hydrate
Or a little
yourself.
Breck distillery and cherry
Yeah.
cola.
Buy a ticket.
Buy a ticket on
ColoradoRapids.com/DNVR. $5 off.
Not game time. Rapids. Colorado Rapids.com/DNVR. $5 off. Show up
To the last game.
Scream at Fake Salt Lake.
Actually, guys, I was going to talk to you. I'm going to be at that game.
Are you?
Guys, yeah. Last game of the year. It's Salt Lake. Like, might as well.
Ooh, a Yaya appearance.
This
Yeah.
is a good sign. Bet the
Are you
over,
tailgating
baby.
it? You tailgating it?
Probably.
Are we going to DNVR Rapids at the tailgate?
We'll DNVR Rapids at the tailgate.
All
Lock
right,
it in.
we're in.
We'll see you there. Become a diehard member at thednvr.com. You get all sorts of benefits. This is an actual ad read. you get all sorts of benefits. You get behind the paywall on the website. So Nugget season coming up. Adam Mares does the list, right? His breakdown with video and all these notes on what's working for the Nuggets. You get wind chimes with Harrison Wind. You get votes, game grades. Avs coming up. AJ's film room. Rudo's breakdowns.
Aaron
Megan's.
Lacroix might be doing some.
Lacroix might be doing
breakdowns. I know
Come on.
Todd is also working on some.
And Todd Davis, literal Super Bowl champion co-worker of ours. A peer, if you will.
Some might say it's D-Line's best friend.
D-line and the middle linebacker. It makes sense. It's perfect. They work together. You get into all that stuff. You also get discounted tickets to our tailgates. We have a tailgate for Buffs, for Broncos. You get discount on the
Avs.
season pass to the Avs and Nuggets takeovers. There's 4 Nuggets takeovers. There's 3 Avs takeovers. That's a party bus from here to there with Breck brews and vibes and good times.
Apparel exclusives.
Apparel
discounts.
exclusives. That's usually a hoodie version of a shirt that we drop or something like that. 20% off merch. Free merch every year. That's one free shirt or hat or $35 off a hoodie. Once a year, every year, as long as you are a diehard member.
Discount in the bar.
15% off at the bar. Good job, Duane. Keep it coming, baby.
There's a
Getting me
lot of
Yaya.
There's a lot of diehard.
You can win a date with Yaya.
But only if you're
Allegedly.
a man. Because my wife will be mad.
That's true. AKA, you can sit downstairs and watch an Avs game with Yaya.
Yeah, your choice of game.
Look, you should just be a diehard, plain and simple. You get a diehard card.
It's true.
You get a cool box with merch and all the stuff you get for the membership when you sign up. TheDNVR.com.
My wife.
My wife. Nice.
I thought the
Tell
exact
me-
same thing and I'm like, I'm not saying it.
At work the other day, she texted me that she saw there was parent-teacher conferences and a guy walked in with a DNVR hoodie.
Let's go.
And she was like, "Oh, DNVR, my husband works there." And he just yelled, "I'm a diehard." And she was like, "Okay." And then she texted, she goes, "I don't know what that means."
Your wife looked at him and was like, I'm a teacher.
She was like, "That's cool." And then she just texted, she goes, "I don't know what that means."
Dwayne,
But now you
Dwayne,
know what
you're
it
doing
means
a
because we
poor
just talked
job
about
of
it.
selling the brand at home. Sounds like.
She already has the hoodies.
But does she have a membership?
She's
But is
married
she a
into the
diehard?
diehard life.
Yeah, but she didn't. All right, we'll talk off air. No, I'm just kidding. Be a diehard. Is
Be
the
a
point.
diehard.
Be a diehard.
Join the club.
Join the club.
Insider
Morning,
club.
Matthew, by the way.
Matthew.
Nice to see somebody with some
Morning,
manners.
Mark, Matthew, Amy,
Hello.
Mitchell,
Yeah,
Duane,
me. That's me.
all of those in the chat. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
I
and
hope
welcome.
that this day brings beautiful wonders of soccer to your lives.
Okay, let's jump into this other rumor, the newest and latest rumor for this open coaching position. Yahya, I believe you told me this was one of your favorite players growing up.
Yup.
Played for Eltree, played all across
Mexico,
Liga MX, played for Vancouver in the MLS. It is Efrain Juarez,
Yup.
a midfielder. He has since moved on and followed, what's his name? The Scandinavian guy that coached NYCFC. He was an assistant there when they won the MLS Cup. He then moved to Belgium with that coach and has at Standard Liège and then now at Bruges.
It's probably got a van in it, I think.
No, it doesn't.
No Vander?
No, because he's not from...
Oh, okay.
Doesn't matter.
I might be thinking somebody else. I don't know.
Tell us why this made you excited.
It made me excited. Obviously, I like the guy. He was a right back. He was a defensive midfielder for a long time of his career. He played for Pumas back in the era where I was like really, really into Pumas.
Pumas is objectively cool.
Yeah, like having the big Puma right in the middle of your chest is dope.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sure.
He's also one of the first actually Mexicans that was like a mid-tier kind of guy that made the jump to Europe. And that got me really excited. I was so into him. I was so into what he did that every time I bought FIFA, that was the first player I bought.
I always have guys like that. I love that. Yeah. That's amazing.
So this guy to me is like...
Yeah, he was at Celtic for 3 seasons.
Yeah, he went to Celtic.
Only 13 appearances, but yeah.
He was also in Vancouver. He was been around. He knows the European.
And then he went back to
America.
Norway to end his career.
Yeah. So, besides him as a player, one of my favorite players, mainstay in the national team. I thought it was great. I loved him as a player. But when it comes to this, my excitement is that he might bring in that Mexican grit that he showed as a player.
Love that.
And I think that's what Jack also had. Jack, they have grit. So the two names that we know so far, there seems to be a kind of a common thing where they're looking for guys that have that mental edge to them that are going to win at all costs and know what it takes to win. Because these guys are winners, even if they didn't win a bunch of trophies, they know what it takes to be a good player, not just in MLS or whatever league they were in, but internationally and everywhere you go. And that comes to youth development. All youth players are talented. A lot of them will make the first team. A lot of them will go on to play professionally. The biggest difference between a good player, a bad player, and a great player is the mentality and how you can switch that. And how far you're willing to push yourself, how far you're willing to take everything you do. And that's, I think, where these two hires really excites me, that they're players and they know what it takes to win. And I think they can develop guys like Yappy, Ollie, and everybody else that's coming in through those ranks. And again, he might bring in some Mexican players. You've seen it before. When Almeida went to Earthquakes, what did he do? Bring me El Chiquete. Immediately brought him over.
Great move.
Again, like that's what happens when you have Mexican coaches. Pineda did the same thing and brought in Gudiño from Chivas as their goalkeeper down in Atlanta. Like, that's what happens. You want to bring in familiarity. You want to bring players you're familiar with, and what are you more familiar with than your own countrymen? And that's one of the exciting parts of why I want Efrain Juarez to be the Broncos, the Rapids head coach. Sorry, guys. I also have a Bronco show. Him coaching the Broncos.
Yeah. What a left turn that would be.
Him and Sean Payton taking over.
It was Ronnie Dela. Dela? That's the coach that he's followed as an assistant.
And he's coaching at Club Bruges, which is like
that's a big Belgian team. Big Belgian club.
It's one of those like mid-tier teams on the lower spectrum of the mid-tier, you know?
Yeah. Look, I don't, this is one of those ones where I probably rank this one higher than Jack. Less interesting, unfortunately, in terms of national attention, extra time segments, stuff like that. But he was part of a coaching staff that won a title.
Yep.
Right? Like, he knows what it takes in the MLS. He knows what those crazy travel weeks are like, and he knows, what this league can be from the inside, right? And he's seen it, and he would know how to prepare This team does have, while the Rapids are young, they also have a lot of true like pros. I think, like just pros. You know, your Keegans, Maxus, guys like that.
I mean, Ronan, Rubio, like
Totally.
yeah, like guys that you can actually trust.
Yeah, and so I think he comes in and those guys will buy in quickly. I think it would be a smart, kind of safe, probably pretty cheap move.
My favorite thing about it is that we talk, the Rapids community talks so much about how do we get more fans, Latino, Hispanic, Mexican fans in the stadium. And this is one of those things that might do that. As much as it is a coaching move, it's certainly a marketing move. Rapids are never going to be an extra time thing. They're never going to be a national topic thing. We could be like the top team in the league, and I still don't think MLS is going to want to talk about us. So for me personally, and this is not speaking for these guys or DNVR, I don't really care if we're getting national attention. Like, what I care is that the stadium is full, that the people who live in Colorado are batshit crazy about the Rapids.
That's a good point.
And want to be here. I want all of the communities here in the stadium and represented. And if that is a coaching hire that does that for this club and brings in that excitement and brings in some players from Mexico, dude, that would be amazing. You know, like, because again, the coach is going to have to fit into the system. Like but Porg has been very clear on that. If any of these, if let's say all these coaches could do that equally because the system is the system, then give me the guy who's going to bring in the Hispanic, Latino, Mexican community. Bring me the guy that could bring in some Mexican players that we don't normally see here at the Colorado Rapids, and bring in that excitement, like that cultural craziness that comes to soccer. Like, man, how much fun would it be at Dick's Sporting Goods Park to have that place just crazy?
I want it to be hostile.
Yes, I just want it to be crazy.
The place gets loud.
Hostile.
It does get loud.
It can get very loud.
And I want it to be intense. I want you to feel the crowd.
Yeah, and that's where I think, like,
I wanted to
that
stay below
coach,
like the Mexican team, national
Yeah, just
team
right
game.
below
Yeah.
Azteca,
Yeah,
DSGP.
Yeah, like you want it right below like the throwing of beer.
Yes,
Like,
I don't want to be.
right
I don't want to
below
be
that.
a national story because we're always in trouble.
I don't mind. That's
but
fine. That's also
I
interesting.
think this coaching candidate, does that for us. I don't think someone coming from Arsenal can have that big of an effect because the Arsenal fan pool is going to be smaller than the country of Mexico, or all of the Mexican fans who live, in the Denver area that want to come. So
market.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a bigger
Mexico.
pool. Yeah, it's just a naturally
sure.
obvious bigger pool.
Sure.
And I'd rather have more fans in the stadium. If both of those coaches can do the system, I want the guy who's going to bring in
Fans.
more fans who are more excited about the Rapids. So
Sure.
if that happens, that's awesome. I think that would be so much fun.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what, like, again, I think he could bring in somebody like, I don't know, like Uriel Antuna. Bring in a guy like that. Bring in maybe an Alexis Vega. Well, I don't want him as much. He's a good player. Wingers, you know what I mean?
Totally. Sure.
Bring in players that are playing in Mexico at high levels. Who was the guy? Juanes brought him Quillones out in America. Dude just became a naturalized Mexican, was Colombian. Plays is a beast. Bring him in. Henry Martin. Guys like that are mainstays in Liga MX will bring a lot of attention to the actual national team. Luis Romo, Luis Chavez, stuff like that. You're going to get all that attention. And if you bring Efrain Juarez, it's going to be way easier to sell him on DSGP than to sell him any other time in your life.
And look, maybe this is just playing devil's advocate because I think we really have to parse out what makes these guys good candidates versus not. His coaching career, which has only been the last 4 seasons. And New York City. Yeah. Right? That's a team with some Brazilians, some Americans kind of headlining.
Correct.
Standard Liège in Belgium, and Club Brugge. Not hot spots for acquiring Mexican national team name players. Is his connections from playing 39 total caps with the senior team, something like that? Does he have enough connections from that time to be a draw for those players here?
100%. 100. You got to realize that when you look at players that are going to these clubs, Club Brugge and all this, and they're not Mexican, it's not because he's not in charge. He's bringing in, and I know
He's
you
an
know,
assistant.
exactly.
He's an assistant.
I'm sure he's throwing names out there.
I'm just wondering if he's kind of pulled himself out of that, right? Like, that's really far away from Mexico.
Yeah, and again, dude, these guys all keep tabs on each other, all of them. They all are friends. They all know each other. You're talking about a guy that has played with Andres Guardado, HH, has been around all those guys. You think that he doesn't know them? He's going to come into the league and like know them.
Well, and he spent 10 years playing in MX. I'm just trying to...
No, and again, it's great that was advocate, dude, because I did have that thought cross through my mind. And I'm like, no, he played with Rafa Marquez out in Barcelona. He's played with all these guys that, like, Chicharito. He knows Chicharito very well, too. Like, that's the thing. Like, he knows all these guys.
Sign him.
I love Chicharito,
dude,
bro.
this is what you look at this guy at the way you kind of look at DeAndre Yedlin, right? A guy
Yedlin.
Dude, honestly, dude, this is the way, and I'm gonna tell you why. It's a guy that had a lot of potential, kind of made that jump, and it didn't work out. Had to come back to the league, but now he's still on the national team because he's so good.
Right.
But what he's doing is he's kind of cultivating that culture within the locker room with all the new young guys coming in. That's helping out, and that's how I look at Efrain Juarez. He was one of my favorite players because he was one of those first batch of kids that took that jump to Europe. It didn't work out, but he was trying his hardest to become a winner and push himself. And at the end of the day, if he's going to do anything, he's going to cultivate culture like he did in that Mexican locker room. Because you point to a lot of things, man. If you look back at all the reports back in the day, that he was a leader in that locker room. Him and Andres Guardado really took that locker room and made it their own with Rafa Marquez. And they said, we're winning because we're winning. And it's not coincidence that that's some of the best stretch that Mexico has ever had when they're playing, when they had leaders out there in that pitch. And that's what you want as a coach, right? You want a leader. You want a guy that can cultivate culture, bring in guys like that. And he's been around some big clubs. NYFC is an MLS champ, and Club Brugge, and out there, they're bigger clubs. And that's something that he's learned from that he can bring back to the MLS, bring back to the Rapids, bring back all the stuff, and be a great, great player and coach. Well, mostly a coach.
I'm sold. Yaya just sold me on that.
Great.
Let's go.
Sign him. Let's make the decision. Somebody call the front office.
I have a completely different theory of why he's not gonna get hired, but
what is
I
that?
won't bring. I'm not talking about it.
You're not gonna tell us.
No, if you see me personally, I'll tell you personally, not on the show.
Wow. Crazy. Okay. Any other? Okay, no, I lied. Let's jump into this. Salt Lake.
Liar.
Let's jump into the fake Salt Lake end of the season.
What about Victory Crossing?
You want to talk Victory Crossing?
So this is what I want. I want you to tell me what happened and your thoughts on it. And I just wanted to be like, hey, like I've read some quotes, but like, what's going on in your guys' head when you read the quotes?
Do you want to take this one?
I mean, I'll take it. I will say that if you've not seen the comments that were made by Commerce City Council
Mayor, the mayor.
Wow, that dude brought the fire emojis to the city council meeting, and on the record in public in an official city meeting, what all the fans have said about KSE and their treatment of the Rapids and the Rapids fan base and the area around DSGP for 2 decades. He is the voice of Rapids Twitter.
Straight up in ways none of us could ever hope to be.
And eloquent, like put it very on point, but very eloquent, and really has, with his words, put KSE, put their feet to the fire.
Well, okay, let's jump back, because the announcement for Victory Crossing, which, you know, was mentioned at the end of the response letter to C38, that Josh Kroenke wrote with a quill pen by candlelight himself after deep meditation on the
Him
subject.
in the bowels of the SGP with that owl from last year.
He certainly wrote 100% for sure wrote every sentence. He brought up the development of Victory Crossing next year.
Real quick, I'm surprised that a rich guy knows how to write. Continue.
I'm not. How do you think people get rich?
He was
Yeah.
born rich.
Well, he was, sure. But
They still learn to write.
yeah.
When
I
I have
can't write,
people, I'm
so-
not even going to learn how to do anything.
Jesus. So the next thing from that, the next thing we hear about Victory Crossing is the Rapids are going to co-sponsor, not pay for the whole thing.
Yeah, I'd like a
Pay-
minute on this.
Pay. Okay. Okay. Hold your horses. We'll let you cook. They will pay for 50% of a grant to sponsor a contest for students to finish the design work for Victory Crossing.
What a great opportunity for those gullible young men and women.
So Duane was referencing the mayor's comments. And essentially the mayor said, not essentially, this is what he said. And while I say this line, I'll look up the rest of them. But he said, KSE can afford the $50,000.
Yep.
And goes on to essentially say things along the line of, as I'm still looking for these quotes that Brendan Plone so thankfully put on the internet for us. He says, KSE can afford it. Why are they doing this to taxpayers again? You say you support the Rapids. Here we go. Found the quote thread, Brendan Plone. It's a drop in the bucket whenever you consider the scale of what this project is. But why? Why should the taxpayers be on the hook to fund this $25,000 to finally realize development that was supposed to be occurring all along? You have a landowner and a team owner who has sat on this property and hasn't done a darn thing that was promised to this community. Has not lived up to his obligations. Not lived up to the obligations as a team owner or in any manner as a member of this community. Here we come again. Let's stick our hand out and expect another $25K on top of it just so we can have this grant program, exploration, and everything going forward. The taxpayers deserve better than that. Those development interests are in KSE's plans. They didn't come to us and say, hey, what would you like to see there? They came to this council meeting in May and said, we want to put up these high-rise apartments, retail and commercial, but that's going to be a small component. We've sat here on the rest of the property and haven't done a thing about it. We haven't done anything to apply for any permits, any environmental covenants. We've done squat. This is our plan. Now, 6 months later, an article comes out and says, oh, by the way, we want you to pay $25K. I'm sorry, but the Kroenke organization can afford the entire $50K. They don't need residents to once again fork it over. Show you're committed to this. Show that you are committed as the landowner, as the team owner, and everything else. Josh Kroenke, who wrote a letter to the fans of Colorado Rapids saying, we are invested in this team. We are invested in this community. Prove it. For once, prove that you are actually invested in this community, because for the last 18 years, you've owned this property, you've sat on it and have broken promise after promise to the community and everybody else. The only thing you have proved is greed and a lack of investment back where it belongs. So I will not support the $25,000 from taxpayers as long as I have the ability to do so. Mayor Benjamin Huseman, salute.
He deserves
Just boom, boom, boom.
I know you're listening to the show, Mayor. Send us your address. We'll send you a scarf.
You can up the pids with us forever, my guy.
True.
Make him a lifetime diehard.
Honestly.
All right, Duane, as you were.
Agree with all those statements by the mayor. I want to take it a level further. I hate design contests. Design contests are a way for...
This was going.
This is where it's going. It's too late now. You've given me the floor. So buckle up.
Cut the cameras.
Buckle up,
God,
folks.
I'm so excited. Okay, go.
Design contests are ways for rich people and rich corporations to get free work from designers. This happens all the time in the graphic design community. A big company says, we're going to rebrand or we're going to make a cool thing. Why don't you all do a whole bunch of free work, and then we're going to choose one of them and we're going to give you a free t-shirt. Even the one we choose, we're not going to pay properly. And it's just the biggest load of crap. in the creative world. I can't stand it. In addition to, Kroenke should just be paying the $50,000. What's $50,000 to someone who's a bazillionaire?
They forget about 50 grand in that entire
they don't even
ecosystem
you
of
can't
money
forget something you
every
don't
day.
even think about.
They literally, it's nothing.
But
it
the
is
fact
less
is,
than nothing.
But now you're going to have several groups of college students who are going to be putting in a ton of free hours because that money's not coming to them. They're going to be putting in all of these hours. And then, probably out of the 3 groups, only one of them is going to get the 50 grand because they're the winner. Then you had 2 whole other groups that just did a whole bunch of free work to give KSE ideas for free. And it's exploiting creatives. It is exploiting young people. It is exploiting people who are working hard with their creative talents. You would never go with a disease or an injury to 3 different doctors and say, I'm very sick. I'm going to give the 3 of you an opportunity to heal me. Use all of your training, everything that you've learned your whole life, your best teams, bring it in here so you can fix my body. And whoever I think does the best job, even though all of your work probably is helping me, I'm going to pay just the one who I think does the best job. I'm not even going to pay you what you deserve to be paid. I'm going to pay you less and give you a free t-shirt that says, my medicine fixed Duane.
Wow.
That is, you would never do that to doctors ever. But for some reason, it's okay to do that to creatives and to college students. And I just think the whole thing is cheap and lazy. And for someone who has so much money and so much ability to support the local community of creators and designers and architects and all of this stuff that goes into this, you should be supporting that instead of taking the cheapest possible route and then trying to get Commerce City to pay for half of it. It is, to me, it's reprehensible. It's gross. It makes me so mad that part is not even like considered. Like they're fighting over 25,000, but you're also exploiting creatives and young people. And I just think it's a garbage take.
I think it's kind of crazy that that you took the time and intentionally included talk about Victory Crossing in your response to C38. Like that was something that the C38 fans need. Sure. We need commercial real estate development around this soccer stadium.
Yep.
Right? And then the next move is the literal cheapest thing I have ever heard an ownership group actually do.
Yeah.
Ever.
I don't think there's a lot of caring.
You're splitting 50 grand.
Yeah.
You have $50,000 sheets on a bed in one of your 20 houses somewhere. Like, are you kidding? You couldn't just spend 50 grand?
And here's how I know the money doesn't matter. And we don't have to get into, maybe we'll get into it later. But with the stadium rights in LA and losing the World Cup, they just don't care.
And they don't care.
They just don't care. All of that money, they don't care.
Well, that's why they have to penny pinch, because they can't get that money back. All that money that they were winning from the World Cup, it was for the new Rapids Stadium.
Yeah, sure it was.
Sure, totally. Yeah, what are your thoughts? You've been quiet on this now that me and Duane just got our takes off there.
To me, it's just they promised it at the beginning of February. That should be starting built right
they promised
now.
It 19 years ago.
I mean, yeah, but that's true. But that's what they said. Beginning, I'm going based off reason, right?
Sure,
what they're telling you right now.
Yeah,
and it's if you want it by February, shouldn't you start building next week after the game to have everything done and make sure everything.
You mean for the February coming up? Yeah,
that's what they.
Well, they're not building. They would.
They said plans
show the plans.
No, but I thought it said and have it up and running or something like that. And it's
it's the plans that they were.
Yeah,
regardless, man, it's real stupid.
It is.
To me, it's this should have been done a while ago. I have a different take
grand.
I have a different take from Duane about the competition, but to me, the competition is stupid for other reasons. It's because you have the money to pay.
the best of the best.
Yeah, the top tier architect.
Yes.
Instead, you're just gonna like.
You're exploiting free work instead.
To me, it's not even exploiting. Like, because to me, like some of those kids might look at it as opportunity. Because I do get what you're saying, but like some of those kids do see it as like, hey, this might be something I can do.
Sure, I mean, it could be. I mean, it's not bad for the kids.
It's just.
I'm not saying the experience is bad for the kids.
Yeah, of course.
What's bad for the kids
that it's a
is that
billionaire
they're
doing
not
it.
being paid.
Yeah, exactly.
For professional level work that's going to build a community around a professional ballpark. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Owned
not
by
fair.
the richest owner in
Yeah, it's not.
sports.
The experience is
That's-
great, and I'm
Yeah,
happy
that's
for
the thing.
them to be able to have that in their portfolio. But if they were to do freelance work to put in their portfolio, they would get paid by regular mom and pop businesses around. But the richest of those is not willing to.
That's
pay
my
them.
thing.
I mean,
I'm
look,
not
this is
a-
sports in general,
yeah.
right? This is billionaires not building their own stadiums and then
Yeah.
holding cities hostage, holding fan bases hostage to pass tax resolutions to pay for a stadium that they can afford.
Sure.
I mean, this is nothing new in sports. This is
No,
not a
it's
new
not
thing.
unique
It's
to
not
K-
something unique to KSE. It's
Yeah.
not something unique to Denver in general, as we've
Yeah.
seen stadiums come
And
up
my
here, right?
issue-
like it's not like this is not new.
Yeah, and my
for sure.
issue with that competition, it's not that it's a competition or that they're not getting paid. To me, it's who's doing it, which is Kroenke. The rich people shouldn't
Yes.
be doing that. That's my issue with it. It's,
Correct.
If it's somebody
Roll
around
out
town,
the greatest designer
Exactly.
you've ever seen
even not even that,
and pay them.
bring
pay
in
them.
A bunch of money.
Bring
Yes.
in a top 50 architect designer in Colorado, and it's
Yeah.
better. Than, like it's still way better than
There are incredible architecture firms right here in Denver
Yep.
and also in Colorado
Yep.
that you could pay all three of them to do that spec work to say, here's our plan. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Is you come with
You get
your
bids.
plan,
Yeah, yeah.
you take your bids, but you still get paid for doing the work.
For the work.
Yeah,
You know?
and again, regardless, like competition, whatever, like it's a stupid idea. This is just something that like I'm used to at this
Yeah.
point. It's really just kind of slid off my back, and like I don't care because there's something that should have been worked on and done
Yeah.
a while ago. This should have been done almost a year after the Sporting
Yeah,
Goods
should have
Park
been
was
done
done.
10 years ago.
Like it should have been done. Everybody has seen the sign if you are on Twitter
Could
and
you-
follow Rapids Twitter that says call for more information on Victory Crossing.
Yeah.
And the whole sign's run down just like the stadium, just like
The
everything that's
website's a
going
dead
on.
link.
Yeah, like
Could you imagine if this was done and we're sitting here talking about, hey, meet us at Illegal Pete's Victory Crossing for a margarita pregame and how much fun we would be having?
Be dope.
it's just there's so many things that need to be done. And again, with the scoreboard, like I understand the
Well, let's
give me
Okay, okay.
I understand the conflict with the scoreboard and why it's not done, but it's also like you have the money, and it's the same thing with this whole thing. The whole issue would if you were a poor owner, if you were Mark Davis of the Las Vegas Raiders, and you didn't have the money to do this out of pocket,
Shots the Raiders, I love
would
it.
get it. I would understand. Mark Davis didn't even pay for his stadium. The city of Las Vegas paid for all
Yeah,
of it,
for sure.
not because he just couldn't afford it, honestly. But when you're Kroenke and you can afford everything out of pocket, especially in such a smaller scale than when you've paid for all over the U.S. and all of your other stadiums, it's such a shame. It's such a stupidity that you can't even do this right. And it's so disheartening. Honestly.
What they paid for a player at Arsenal
That's what I'm looking
would
at
get
right
all of this done.
They
This is
paid
literally what I'm
$100
looking at.
million in just two
This is
players.
this is what I'm looking at.
They played $100 million in
Yeah.
just two players.
In one
That's-
player, in Declan.
In Declan.
It would the Declan money would fix the scoreboard, all these things. It wouldn't build Victory Crossing, but it would get the plans done and it could get things
would get
started.
close.
They
to
spent
building
200 million pounds on
Yeah.
players alone, on new players alone. 200 million pounds.
And-
The scoreboard is less combined when you have to change all the infrastructure and stuff, which is part of it and doesn't get talked about enough, is how much because this is one of the older stadiums in the MLS, right?
Yeah.
You have to change a
Also-
lot.
You'd have to tear
it's
it
not
all down.
just tearing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not just putting in a new board. It's
Yeah.
building a new board with new technology, blah, blah. It's still less than $3 million, right? Like
Yeah.
cheap. That is cheap when the same organization is spending 200 million pounds on what, 7 players over the summer?
Dude, $200 million, dude. I mean, that's what, 230 in
250,
dollars?
something like that?
Yeah, like 250, and you invest that into the Rapids, you are LAFC.
You're better than LAFC.
You are
you
like-
look down on LAFC.
Like, that's what you are. Like, You are like a top
Yeah.
Take that,
squad in
Will
the league.
Ferrell.
Yeah,
And
right.
And I think that's the frustrating part to me. The frustrating part isn't that it's not done. The frustrating part is seeing that he's an active owner doing other things for other places.
No one can cry, and you can't cry poor.
Yeah,
you just
and
can't.
and that's the
you
thing.
can't
And
cry
he
poor
tries
because
to-
we know you're not. Like we
It's-
know you're not. The
it's-
world knows you're not.
it's
It's literally the world of soccer knows that you're super rich.
It's the pretty girl in high school. It's the pretty girl in high school crying because they broke their nails. You know what I mean?
100%.
It's like, dude, you have a Lamborghini in your parking lot. Like, shut
Yeah.
the hell up. Like,
Lambo.
nobody cares. Like, you know?
damn, that was an unexpected, unplanned fire segment. That's how we do things here.
I think, but again, at the end of the day,
we
it's
only
just not
have a few minutes
frustration.
to get into Fake Salt Lake. How much do you really want to get into the X's and O's of this? Who to watch for?
Not really. I think it's just more like, how do you feel about this game?
How do you feel about this game?
I want to win. I want to win, baby. You know what? Every Saturday when we go out there, we expect to win. And I need to win against Utah, man. Screw Utah as a whole place. Like, screw everything that happens in Utah. It's like
Oh,
the
man,
ugly Colorado.
Moab is really nice.
Yeah,
No.
let's not.
It's all of Utah. I don't screw these guys. They don't know what they're talking about. Utah sucks.
No, I do.
You
I've
know,
been
they
there. It's
sh-
pretty.
You're doing.
pretty.
Utah sucks. Utah's not a good place. Salt Lake is not a good place. That team sucks too. I just want to beat them. They already won the cup. Let's end the season with a bang. You know, like,
That's really what it
that's
is,
all I
right?
want.
Like last match of the season, this team, your hated rival, who clowned you, they beat you twice at home, knocked you out of the U.S. Open Cup. You travel there
In a couple days, like
in
twice
a matter of 4
in a couple
days.
days.
You then go there, post Leagues Cup, in the midst of the worst stretch of MLS play you've ever had. They clown you. They throw a Colorado Rapids dumpster fire tifo up behind the goal.
Great tifo, by the way.
Clown you. All-time clown job.
That Tifo.
And look, it was a broken team. It was a broken locker room. It was a broken organization. And I think we have seen so many positive steps in the right direction under Little and guys like Cole stepping up and trying to start the change now instead of in the offseason. And that is commendable. Nothing would be as good as a big home win over Fake Salt Lake. None of it would even come close.
Yeah, and it's got to be Cole.
Cole,
There has to be
Brace,
Cole goals.
3-0 win, something like that.
Yeah, it's. I want it for him. Like
I want it for Cole
not just
Bassett.
us, but I know that Cole Bassett hates Real Salt Lake as much as we do. Like, and that's what makes Cole Bassett goals versus RSL so much sweeter than a Cole Bassett goal against anyone else. Is that I know the hate that flows through his boot into the ball and poisons their goal with Rapids hate. And nothing would make me smile more than seeing Cole turn to the dark side and put that ball in the net.
That's the one thing, honestly. I want to see Ollie, Seb, and Cole all start, and all I'm going to go Colorado kids against the evil Utah people.
Love it.
Look, it's not just the last game of the season. It is the last C38 tailgate of the season. You are wearing your C38 hoodie there.
Shout out.
We
There's a
love
great hoodie.
we love those guys over at C38. You will see us hanging out there pregame. And look, this team has scored in every game. They've been competitive. Just a couple wins, nothing crazy, right? But ending this would be, considering the depths of spirit of this team, right? Like how low this fan base was, this club was at points this season. Not there now. Definitely has gone up, right?
Yeah.
But where it could end with a win over Fake Salt Lake at home is just, let's have some fun, right? Like let's have some fun.
Great.
Go to coloradorapids.com/DNVR. $5 off your tickets for this weekend.
Yep.
Grab a ticket. Support the boys. It's not their fault. Well, debatable. But they're the ones that can win this game. They're the ones that can end this season on a high note. So go out, be loud, have fun, and maybe we get the Colorado boys scoring goals for us.
That's all I want. I want all 3 Colorado boys just to go out
That'd
there
be awesome.
and beat the evil Utah people.
Evil. Also, before the show, Yahya said that Burger King is the best fast food place, and that's insane.
No,
Dwayne,
that's
plug us
not
outta
what
here.
I said. I said they have the best fast food burger.
For
Don't
more
come at
weird
me.
Yaya takes,
Go ahead, Dwayne,
Jump
plug
on
us out of
Twitter.
here.
Right, yeah. I'm walking off stage.
hey, friends, if you like ridiculous fast food takes, you might like at DNVR_Rapids on the Twitters.
Oh, jeez, that was so funny.
From there, you can find each of our individual accounts, and then you can tag Yaya on all of his really weird, strange fast food takes.
My state takes are good. My food takes are all right.
I don't know. Look, Yahya, I respect you and love you as a human being and friend and analyst. But Burger King, dog, come on.
That's why I said my food takes are okay. My state takes are right.
Colorado, Utah.
Colorado, everybody else.
Correct. That is correct. Okay. Any other plugs you'd like to do besides for the state of Colorado?
5-star review wherever you hear us on Apple on our podcast platform. We do have a podcast, guys. It's really fun. There's the live show that goes with it. But go follow us on our podcast, 5-star reviews wherever you hear us. We'd really appreciate it. Follow us on Twitter too. I think I'm gonna have Mitch tweet out all our personal accounts today.
Yes.
So you can find us all and just tell us how stupid we are, how fun we are, how nice we are. I appreciate all of it.
Just tell me how nice I am. I don't want to hear the rest of
I
this
also
stuff.
do have an account out there that's called Yaya's Muted Mic. So go follow that. That's fun.
Do you really?
Yeah, you don't know about that?
No.
Okay, we'll talk about it. It's funny.
That's amazing. Yeah, get your Die Hard membership. Buy your merch. Stock up. I got a ton of Nuggets gear, ton of Avs gear in. Get stocked up for the upcoming seasons. I have Buff stuff. I have new Rams officially licensed Colorado State gear in-house today, shipping out today. So go ahead and order that. And more important than any of that, the most important thing we say, and for the last time this season,
Unfortunately.
the PIDs.